You got that TikTok filter on that makes you look better?
TikTok filter? No.
Have you seen that?
This is my natural, perfect skin, Ryan.
Eric, I need that TikTok filter. Make daddy look good. What's up, Resource Nation? I am so excited because I got my good buddy back for a second or third or fourth time. I can't count anymore. It seems like you're on a lot, Rene, and I know you're busy. You're going to, it sounds like Philly, Vegas, another city. I mean, you're a super busy, man. So first, out of the gate, I just want to thank you for like setting aside 20, 30 minutes for us and the Resource to kind of talk about where we're at in the industry. So, man, great to see you. I'm a huge fan of yours, man. Anytime I see you anywhere, I'm like, I'm so proud of that guy. I love that guy. I want nothing but the best for him. So the fact that you're carving out time for me means the world to me. Thank you.
Oh, dude, the honor's mine, man. I was just reading this article in Harvard Business Review called "The Busy Trap." This activity is not a metric for success, which I thought was pretty interesting. So
I love HBR, man.
Yeah, busy, but I still got to challenge myself to say busy doing what. And when you call, the answer is always yes, my friend.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. And we were talking in the green room, and I just want to frame up this conversation, guys, because I'll be honest, like usually I'm, we had the Sunshine Warrior in our Amplify, right, Rene? And so usually I'm like to try to be that male version of like the Sunshine Warrior and positivity, and I am. There's always, opportunity and adversity, but man, we are facing some crazy adversity in this business right now. And I was telling Rene, we started the show in '08, right after the Great Recession. You guys remember that if you were in the business. It was difficult. I was a young, struggling LO, just trying to like survive in my town. And so we leaned in heavily into content creation and started doing a show just to try to keep my head above water. And we were treading water for a while. And, quickly, it worked pretty good. We got business in this little town called Puyallup, Washington. And, unintended consequences, people in Oregon started watching, and then California, and then all the way to the East Coast. And then we started guest hosting on National Real Estate Post. And then we got a national audience. And then I told Rene, like from 2008 to now, quite a bit of a ton of work and a lot of success. I love the business on both sides, real estate and lending. But if you had to say, hey, Hills, how'd you get there? I would say, well, a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours, but, content creation and being committed to this strategy has helped me go from barely surviving to, running a gigantic region with some amazing people. Getting to meet people like Rene and all the other guests that you guys have seen on our show has been simply from this one strategy. But I was telling Rene, I'd have to go back to 2008, in my opinion. People watching, I'm sure you would agree. I know you're feeling a certain type of way about your volume or lack thereof. And I was telling Rene, man, I feel like I have to go all the way back to when we started to find a time that is as challenging as right now. And 2018 was tough. We had some margin compression days. Remember those? But that's why I called Rene. Like, I know you got, AmpCon coming up, and you're going to speak to this about reigniting your sales and kind of getting back in the game. But first, Rene, how are you feeling that? I know you travel a lot, and I know you continue to talk to people and mastermind with top producers and executives. Are you feeling that? Like, what's your perspective? You have a different perspective than we do. And then two, more importantly, like, how do we navigate a time like today, man? It is super challenging. And again, I know that there's always opportunity in the adversity. I mean, look at the show is birthed out of adversity, and look where we're at today, right? So there's always opportunity here, guys. And I want to stay focused on that. But I'll open up with those two questions first. Like, are you seeing this? What's your perspective? And more importantly, how do we navigate it?
Yes, I'm seeing it. 2, who cares? 3, keep working. And this is what I mean by that. I don't mean to be sort of soundbitey in that, but if everyone's feeling it, so then we're all feeling it. If everyone's scared, then we're all scared. And that doesn't mean that we're all scared, by the way. If everyone is feeling some sort of pressure, that means it's equal. It's like raining. Look, it's raining on all of us. Well, should we all sit around and talk about it, or should we get umbrellas?
Yeah.
The emotion, it doesn't matter. The ups and downs of business are predictable. They're just predictable. It's like being shocked that winter came. Well, God, winter. Oh no. Well, that's what happens after a fall. And you know what? After winter, we get spring, excuse me. We can't be surprised at the business cycle. And the question is, does it matter that we're scared? Does it matter and I'm talking to a business owner, I'm talking to a producer, somebody that's responsible for revenue at the moment, that's responsible for a team. Does it matter?
That team pressure is big, Rene. I hear that a lot. I've been traveling like you a lot, and they feel a certain type of way about volume, right? Yep. And then, the financial stress. Almost more importantly, and this is crazy, I'd love for you, since you just started to touch on this, let's land there for a second. They feel the pressure. They're like, man, I just hired 3 LOAs or an assistant. I can't let them down. So I know that that pressure is immense.
And so there's, when I say it doesn't matter, I want to put a caveat around that. It doesn't matter from what you got to do. Do you have to create space for people to feel comfortable? Yes. Do you have to create space and do that? But this is the time to lead. This is the time to grab the flag and charge forward. In that sales environment, that means more phone calls, better presentation, more activity, right? If you're half down, then double the work. It's mathematical at that point. And so if you've got to do double the work to get the same business, then that's just during the winter time, just during the struggle time. It's not going to be like that forever. And that will shift and it will come back. But what happens is that we let the emotional side get us to stop working, and then it becomes self-fulfilling. Consumer confidence index, that's a mindset. Confidence is a mindset.
Yes.
And so these belief systems that we run from start dictating our buying behavior. And so we have to take a look at the behavioral economics of this and the behavioral side of what we do. And if you're a leader, if you've got a team, if you're responsible for revenue, you can't get caught up in it. I'm not saying be naive to what's going on, but does it affect your work ethic? It should increase your work ethic.
Yep.
Do more right now. And if everybody were to do more, we would be out of it sooner. Period. It's just how it works. But what happens is we do get scared, and I get that. But the best way to combat fear is to a confident plan, a leader that can create vision. And here's why. And I'll give you the science behind it. Dopamine is what we need right now, but good dopamine, not dopamine from social media, not dopamine. We need dopamine, and dopamine is specifically secreted in the anticipation of reward, So you see your favorite meal. You go, wow, I'm about to eat that. Eating it is the reward. Dopamine isn't when I eat it. It's the thought and the anticipation of being able to eat it. So food is a reward. What about a beautiful and powerful, compelling vision that a leader can articulate, can have the same effect?
Yeah.
And if I can believe, but if my leader is going, well, this is tough, man. I just, this is harder than, man, this is back to 2008 again. And, what's the reward in that? Where's the dopamine to push me through the hard time? There's nothing in that to say, yeah, this is like 2008. You know what's on the other side of 2008? People try to catch up for the hard work we're going to put in right now, so that when it turns, we are so far ahead. People are like, oh, that's what I do during times like this? Yeah, if this, then that. If hard times, then work harder. That's period. And so what kind of vision are we setting for people right now? And I'm very passionate about this because it's the only thing I can control. And you said it best in our green room. You were talking about, if you did great in the last 3 years, did you create it or did the market create it? Because if you didn't create it, stop celebrating that.
Yeah. Yep.
Be a smart business person, capture that business. But also don't be surprised that because somebody else created this and some other factor like the market created this, and then the market shifts, it's going to uncreate everything it created for you. What are you creating? Has got to be the question. What's the sustainable asset of mentality and mindset? What's a sustainable asset about the team and how they think and what they believe and how they act? What systems are going to hold people accountable to greatness? Accountability systems should make people great. They shouldn't make people feel like they're being watched. Yeah, I'm going to watch you, but if you don't like that, then we're not clear on the reasons why we're doing this. We got to get really clear on those things. And so I say that it's okay that I sound harsh on it because I'm passionate.
Yeah.
I want to be unreasonable on this. We got to go and ask ourselves, look in the mirror. What are you saying about what's going on? Because that's going to dictate a narrative. And the narrative constructs the reality, and the reality dictates how we behave. And the behavior leads to the results that we get. So, do I believe we're in it? Yes. But that's what I think we need to do.
A couple of things. I mean, there's a lot of value right there, and I want to unpack all of that. So I want to stay on dopamine, and then also what you focus on grows. Casey's a good friend of ours, both of ours, right? You got to spend time with Casey Crawford, and he always says, hey, what you focus on grows. And so an example of that today and kind of what you're talking about. This week I've been watching a thread online, and it was brokers and bankers, and they were just venting about how challenging the market is, and it got into pricing, and then they were complaining on both sides, bankers, brokers, and mortgage loan officers all complaining about pricing, which will tell you one thing, that it's challenging for everybody. But I was watching that thread just go crazy, and I'm thinking, that one term, like what you focus on grows. If we're focusing on all the deals that we're losing, that will grow. That mindset will continue to grow that I'm focusing on losing. And I just wanted to jump in there and go, hey, let's start a new thread about how we're actually winning in this market. Because what I focus on grows. And so I want to focus on winning. I want to acknowledge, yes, it's tough. And yes, the margins are compressing. Everybody's fighting. That piece of a pie got a lot smaller and there's still a lot of forks. So yeah, you're going to lose a few deals. Do you want to focus on the few that you lose, or do you want to focus on the ones that you want? And then really dissect, how did I win this? It was the same market, but I won this one, but lost that one. What you
Yeah.
focus on grows, guys. And I would say, to Renee's point, focus on the positivity and winning right in this market. I promise you, if you focus on why it sucks and why you're losing every deal, that too will grow.
When did something being tough become an important metric?
Yeah.
So it's harder. Oh God, it's harder. When did that begin to matter, right? And it begins to matter in an entitled mindset when we had it easy. And then if you're not sophisticated enough to say that, you know what, there are times when things are easier and times when things are harder, then you need to go revisit the concept of seasons of life. And it's the
Preach.
reality. It's like the toughness doesn't freaking matter. It's harder. So what? That's okay. At some point, it's going to be easier.
Well, and tough changes too. Like, dude, in 2020 and 2021, what was tough? It wasn't, I'm not putting anybody down, but a lot of business came raining down from the heavens. That part wasn't tough. What was tough is closing it all, keeping everybody
Hmm.
happy. I remember,
Exactly.
right? That was tough. To Renee's point, tough just shifted. Now tough shifted back on the front end of obtaining business. And it's easy, conversely, to close the business because we have a bunch of people just waiting to close loans, right? Or help you
Absolutely.
with closed contracts if
Bef-
you're a realtor. So tough just merely changes. It never is not tough. It just changes.
So now think about it. What if toughness didn't matter to you? What if how hard something was just irrelevant factor in the achievement of something? If you just eliminate that your dependency or your even focus on how hard something is, you'll just do it regardless of it. Well, getting up in the morning, working out, that's tough. Eating a better diet, that's tough. Anything, to your point, is tough. And if you could just remove that as a factor, then it's just different right now. And it's just, you still got to do the same things. We still got to add value. We still got to be good at what we do. We still got to communicate to people. We still got to get people into homes. It's just different. If toughness is a factor in that, then you're placing your success on something you cannot control. And it's just there. And by the way, there's a concept called grit, concept called hardiness. It's your ability to sustain in difficult times. Building up your hardiness, building up that level of grit to push through is what's going to differentiate you. But it also leads to the mindset of what you think about. And what you think about, that's what you were talking about, what Casey was talking about, where what you think about grows. Well, the reason is it's a brain designed, there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system that's designed for that. It's your radar and what you pay attention to. And what decides that? Your thinking. And so if I think about rates, and this is what I think is so funny. When rates were low and everybody was talking about them, I said, guys, stop talking about rates. I know they're low, but that's what you're doing is you're training your entire audience
Preach.
that rates is a value proposition and it's not a sustainable one because at some point that will change. So you go rates, and then rates go up. Hey, by the way, rates really don't matter. Well, why for the last 2 years
Yeah,
you just told me
it
they do?
mattered then.
Yeah, well, then now all of a sudden they don't matter.
Yeah.
So it's not saying that it's not part of the equation, but I don't like basing things on things I can't control. And so develop the value propositions that are truly sustainable, a competitive advantage that's sustainable, and that you can control. Your service level, how you communicate, the way you market, your knowledge, the trust factor, all sorts of things that really you can control. And oh, by the way, yeah, rates are low. That means it's going to be expensive. But also when rates are low, everyone's buying. So that changes the value of the home. And there's lots of things. And so when rates are high, all of a sudden, that there's benefits to buying at a higher interest rate. It's like, we're talking about, well, we can have a low interest rate at $100,000 inflated price or a little bit higher interest rate at a better market price. There's gives and takes to all this, but we have to educate them on what are all the things that really, truly matter. And as leaders, what comes out of your mouth sets the narrative, and the narrative constructs the reality for your people and for you. And the reality that's constructed is how we base our decisions and our behavior on. And so we got to manage what comes out of our mouth.
Well, and the danger in, back to your point on rates back in when they were low, and if that's their only value prop, that is dangerous because you're training your audience to believe that you're a commodity, and that's the opposite of what we want to be. If it's just about rates, then let me just go online and figure out what the lowest rate is. So we got to be really
Exactly.
careful with our wording and with our messaging. On the realtor side, because we have a ton of realtors that watch what that looks like for you. Back in 2020, now is a great time to buy. Well, in 2023, it is still a great time to buy. Is it for everybody? Maybe not. But if you're selling on the same analogy, but with the realtors, if you're selling that 2020 was the best time to buy, well, you've just put yourself in a really small box. And good luck selling in a changing market. I won't even say difficult market. It's just like your point, it's changing. So 2023 is different. We got to change our messaging. And I understand, guys, why you messaged it that way. But for a lot of people, 23 is still a great time to buy. Housing's still very, very strong. And Rene, really helped the industry in the last couple of years create good content. And it was that little life hack of what that means to you is. That was for Rene. Rene, if you heard that, that came from Rene. Like rates are low, rates are high. Housing's doing this. Well, you throw a graphic on, the end user really doesn't know what that means. That's why Rene, I loved it when Rene came out. Guys, please add this one sentence. What that means to you is. We need to get better as an industry to continue to do that. Some people have picked it up and ran
Yeah,
with it, but a lot of
you
times
do it so well.
we just throw a graphic up and we expect the end user to know what that means. So we really got to spend time explaining what that means to them. So I want to unpack something you said earlier on dopamine, because I read you held up a Harvard Business Review. Man, you understand it way better than I do, so I'll butcher this and you can clean it up. But I read the review and they were talking about kids and how, every generation looks at the previous generation and calls them lazy. And so they were talking about the science of why, kids are addicted to video games, right? And hey, I played a ton of video games as a kid too, so I'm not throwing stones at anybody. I loved it. But what they found is in their world, their dopamine rush and hit came from conquering that level, playing
Yeah.
Madden, beating Madden, Call of Duty, like getting the most kills type thing. So like it's the science behind it. Like in their world, like for us, that might be a closed loan or like getting if you're a realtor, somebody under contract, there's our dopamine hit and rush. For children, it's merely the video game. So they continue to go back to get that hit and that rush. And so it was like, hey, you really need to do a dopamine swap. And I think that adults might need to do a dopamine swap as well. If your reward is way back here and it's not helping you win today, well, okay, we need to like swap out what is a real value add and rush to you. And you were starting to touch on that, but and this is a real unrefined concept in my head. But from that study, I started thinking like, I think sometimes we reward ourselves in our business with the wrong win, and it's not really a win. You know what I mean? And so we have to like change what that dopamine hit is for us. And for that, I think that applies to both realtors and lenders. So any comments on that? Any thoughts on that? I know that was rough, but I know you can clean
No,
that
no,
up.
you nailed it. I mean, you absolutely nailed it. And what happens with video games and external drugs, they create a false sense of achievement.
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
false sense. It's a false hit, and so there's no life achievement to getting a high score. And I'm not saying that's not good, because a certain amount of video game play to achieve some dopamine for somebody who's depressed can give a little bit of incentive to maybe go out and get to the gym, and as long as it's not the overuse of it, right? And so if I can utilize those things, it's there. But a true achievement comes through a tangible achievement that moves the life forward in some way, shape, or form. And so you're right. And the thing about it too, though, is the I will say another thing: people that are in the high pursuit of the video game of life. I want the beach home. I want the Lamborghini. I want this big high ticket showy piece. That's a video game. The same thing, because that Lamborghini will get you the dopamine, and the beach home will give you the dopamine. But there's a problem with that. It's the same problem we have with video games. Is at the end of halfway through your life, you're gonna go and say, okay, so I went after these big goals, because dopamine is secreted in the anticipation of reward. It's not secreted in the achievement of it. And so what happens when we achieve the beach home? Dopamine goes up in the pursuit. As soon as we achieve it,
Yeah.
it falls and crashes, right? So we make the sale, and then once we make the sale, it falls. And so that's the hero to zero in sales, but it's also hero to zero in dopamine. And so what happens is there's a timeline of the secretion where it's acting as sort of this cheerleader. If you can envision an outcome, if you can't envision the outcome, then there's no dopamine. If there's no dopamine, you're depressed. That's one of the things they're looking at for depression, is the inability to vision an outcome. And they're stuck in this gear of negativity. They're stuck in this gear of might be here and now, which might be very difficult. If we were stuck in the here and now in difficult times and we can't envision an outcome, then there's no dopamine secreted. So what happens though is that we think happiness is the goal. And so we go, okay, the goal is the achievement of X. And if I get the beach home, if I get the Lamborghini, if I get whatever that is you're looking for, that new equipment that I wanted to buy, that camera that really will turn my social media apart, this new microphone, whatever it is, and we achieve it, the moment we achieve it, dopamine levels drop, a lot of times below baseline level. And so now we're left with this feeling of like, okay, well, maybe I need a bigger beach home.
Yeah.
Or another Lamborghini. And I go after again, and dopamine begins again. And so it secretes in the pursuit of something, which is good. But let's say the thing that you were pursuing was meaningless. At the end, you've got all these meaningless moments that you thought were happiness. And you're going back, well, what was my life about? Because the moments in between those meaningless moments, what's happening in between those meaningless moments of the dopamine rise and fall is your life. And if most of my life is suffering, grind towards something meaningless, I'm going to be left with some questions at the end.
Yeah.
And,
that's so good, man.
But if we can go and say, let's use that. I'm not saying don't get the Lambo. I'm not saying don't have the beach home. I want a beach home too. I'm saying make sure the pursuit is meaningful. We always talk about why. Why is easy. The how is hard. And here's what I mean by that. No one will remember your why when you die. They'll remember who you were as you lived. And that's in the how. Well, he had a great why, but he was an asshole along the way. They're going to remember you being an asshole. But he had a great, we don't even know his why, but he was such a good person. Always there when you needed, dependable, called you back, cared about you. That's what we'll remember.
I was just going to ask you, and I think you kind of just answered it while you're unraveling that. Like you talked about the hit, and then we actually end up worse than our baseline. You'll hear a lot of CEOs and executives and say that, once they hit that mountaintop, they always need to find another mountain. It's the same concept, right?
Yep.
Guess what realtor and mortgage sales look like?
Up, down,
right?
down.
And it matches what you were just talking about. So my question while you were talking, and I was thinking, well, how do we help them smooth that out? Right. And I think you touched on that. It's about the pursuit. It's about the pursuit. If your reward is here and then it's here, I mean, you're going to continue to have the exact same result. And so smoothing that out is really the goal, in my opinion.
What if you were rewarded in prospecting? It would never go down.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, but because now I can be in a down time, but I'm prospecting and I feel like I'm being rewarded because I connected the value of prospecting to an outcome that's intangible. And that's a vision. It's invisible. But I've been able to connect to this sort of leading metric activity, this leading indicating activity to an outcome. And that's what the top producers do. They know this unsexy activity of prospecting, of making phone calls, talking to people, and let's say it's marketing, of writing this copy correctly, spending the time to build the funnel, that's unsexy and difficult. It's a suffering time. But if I've connected that to an outcome, then now all of a sudden I'm rewarded for that pursuit of building a future outcome. And so instead of saying I'm only rewarded when I achieve, then I tried real hard and that's too much. I'm going to give up. So I did that once. What's the next thing? Well, what happened to like trying something for 2 to 5 years to master a craft? Whatever happened to that?
We struggle for 2 to 5 weeks, man, versus years. I mean, we're still back here just trying to master it for a week or
exactly.
so.
Well, we're in the process of building out funnels, and when we started over, I started over my social media account. I said, talk to me in 2 years, in 3 years, then I'll tell you how to do it. Now we've gotten massive success. Our TikTok grew to almost 800,000 now. Our last 3 months, our Instagram's up over 70,000. It's growing fast, but I'm still not the expert. We're still in the process. Now, do I know a lot? Yeah, but I have this long-term approach to things, and if I can stay focused on that, you'll constantly be winning. And it's almost like you realize there's more to learn because I'm rewarded in the learning process, and you just happen to win along the way, and you just win bigger along the way. But if I can continue to learn, even during a difficult time, but difficult, who cares? It's difficult. It's like, so what? It's difficult. Good. Then let's get stronger. Like I love Jocko. It's like when something hard goes back, it goes good,
Good. Yeah, I love that.
good. The answer's
Good.
good.
Yep.
It's hard, good. And that's the ultimate way to look at it, because you can't control that external factor. But if I can literally just say good, even if I don't internally believe it yet, I'm going to externalize and verbalize good. I'm going to verbalize, I'm glad it's this way. And I can rationalize that, because most people will give up now. I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
If you have that, it's like, if you're somebody who has grit, then you should love the hard times.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who has value, I mean, look at you guys. You guys are thriving right now.
I say the same thing, man. I'm going to look to the left and the right, and the 15 competitors that I have my left and my right are now gone, right? Like, okay, good. Let's roll up my sleeves. This is the time that separates the
But it's
pretenders.
hard, Ryan.
Good.
It doesn't, that's where you say it doesn't matter, right? It's good. I'm glad. It doesn't matter to me. It's not going to dictate anything. That, and I want to move past the raw side of that idea. I want you to get it, but I want you to understand why that's important, because it's really critical to say, let's go beyond this rah, let's say it's good and it doesn't matter and your feelings don't count. It's true, but why? Because if you want to get out of the darkness, if you want to get out of a difficult time, you got to work your way out of it. You got to grind, you got to climb. If you sit at the bottom of that crevice, the bottom of the mountain, complaining about how big the mountain is, while someone else just started fucking climbing.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you're done complaining, they're halfway up.
Yep.
And you're going, man, I could have done that. But yeah, you could have. Just do it. Now, I'm not saying that if you need a hug along the way, let's hug. I'll give you a hug.
I love what you said about I want to get on the other side of the raw of this. And I like this side of Rene, by the way, like stay in that tough love. This is what's needed. But, again, Casey, to give him credit, I don't want to steal his saying. Another one is the miracles in the mundane. And this is happening organically, guys. We didn't plan this. In this whole conversation, this is actually really helping me, Rene. So thank you. So the miracles in mundane. And this ties back into the grind, the daily grind, the weekly grind, and back to the dopamine swap. If your hit is the closed loan, Rene's already explained the trap in that. So the miracles in mundane, how do we get on the other side of the rah and celebrate the miracle in the mundane that you just had the perfect week? And that's what I try to trade people on. Like, let me show you just how to have the perfect week. And Rene, you know this on the athletic side. You just went on a fitness journey, and I bet you the first day was tough and it wasn't rewarding, but you probably had a full week of a great training that led to, which you got in great shape, right? So how do we train? This is I'm gonna end with a question with you. Like, how do we train and can we swap out the reward of a closing to be rewarded the miracles in the mundane of a healthy, perfect week to do all the prospecting? That's we said earlier. The rewards in the prospecting, not in the fact that you closed a loan or sold a house. Can we retrain our brains, Rene, to go from the closing to appreciating the miracle in the mundane and having a perfect week?
Yes. And it's going to be hard. So those of you who don't like hard, you're out of the game. Let's just deal with those who are in, right? So it's it. Listen, if you don't like hard, okay, go home. That's okay. And I don't mean that I don't care about you. If you think it's hard and you're scared and you want to talk, let's talk about it. It's that we can talk about it, but we're not going to not move because of it. And so it's not, I'm not telling leaders to say, oh, well, just get out of here if you don't really work hard. We're going to spend an appropriate amount of time on it, and then we're going to start acting. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, okay, but there's something really beautiful. There's a cure in the hard work. It's like, the hard work is the cure, because you just stop thinking about it because you're moving towards something and you see an ounce of success and you go, okay, hold on a second. I got this ounce and they got nothing. Well, let me get 2 ounces. Well, okay, hold on a second. And then now that starts to rebuild on itself. But you've got to bridge the what we call proximity of consequence and proximity of reward. Somebody who smokes right now will continue smoking because the next cigarette really isn't going to be the one that kills them. So there's no association to death and smoking. The person that eats horrible diet is not going to associate Taco Bell with death because they're just not correlated. Now, if I just bridge that proximity and I would put cyanide in that next taco or the next cigarette, you're not going to touch it because you're associating cause and effect there. But so how do I know that picking up the phone turns into dollars? Well, that's why we start with sales math when I do sales training. And this is what we're going to do in Amplify Your Sales a little bit here, is we're talking about the numbers 1, 1.5, 2.5, 5, and 25. If you're mortgage and real estate, you need to know those numbers. 1, 1.5, 2.5, 5, and 25. Well, if you want one sale, that comes from 1.5 applications or agreements. Those 1.5 applications and agreements come from 2.5 meetings or presentations. Those 2.5 presentations comes from 5 people who are interested in talking to you. And you generate those 5 by talking to 25 people for a 5-to-1 ratio. That's a 66, 6, 50, 20% conversion ratio going all the way down. See how I have these memorized? The next part, if your average commission is $3,000, and I know that they convert from 66% from the previous activity that's measurable, then I know that the next activity, which would be applications, is worth $1,200. If I know that, or excuse me, $2,000. And if I know that that converts from 60%, then I know that my meetings are worth $1,200. And if that converted from a 50%, then I know that my leads are worth $600. And if that converts from 20%, then I know that my talk tos are worth $120. If you're in real estate, double that.
Money.
And so if you're in a great market, triple it. So now, let's say it's not 25 talk tos to one sale. Let's say it's 50. That's twice as hard. Let's say it's 75. Well, then you got some math to do. But here's the thing. You can make up in numbers what you lack in skill or what's happening in the market. But you have to make up in numbers in that. But then once you do that, start working on the quality. If you have great things to say, this is why we teach Amplify. If you have things to say and you understand the person and trust is there and it comes from a referral, you can also increase that by increasing the conversion ratio, the quality of that. So those are the things that we have to do, period.
Dude, that's a perfect way to land too. And again, maybe as sales leaders, and I love, again, we didn't talk about this, guys. This is all organically unfolding in real time. He just really spoke to the miracle being in the mundane all the way back to talk twos. And maybe as sales leaders and owners, we have to stop celebrating the end result and celebrating
Yeah.
the miracle in the mundane of talk twos and applications and celebrating. How about we'll just start with a perfect day of prospecting and celebrate that. And then we'll get to a perfect week and celebrate that. And then to a perfect 2 weeks and month. That's how you navigate. That's how you thrive in a market that is tough, right? I love that, Rene. Guys, if you haven't been an Amplify, you have to get into an Amplify. It's kind of cool because people know I've shared my journey and I've shared my story with Amplify. So every time somebody's going, I just got a call last week. Hey, Hills, just want to let you know I'm going to Amplify. And, they'll ask me questions and I'm like, hey, man, you got to go into the blank slate. Like my journey's not going to be yours. So get into an Amplify. You got your next virtual event, March 15th, I believe it is. We'll put that up now and we'll put a link down below to sign up. Rene just teased what you're going to learn in there. And I can't think of anything better to talk about and to learn in a market like that. So March 15th, I think it's $97. Anything else to add to either of those events, Rene? Because I believe that if you're a realtor or a lender, you should be in both those events. One, the virtual, and then two, the Big Daddy, which is the in-person Amplify.
I appreciate that. Well, one of the things we wanted to do was, this is a part of a 3-part series of AmCon Virtual. And the first one was designing your best year ever. We had 2,300 people that came to that event. A lot of people from your people. In fact, you guys had the most biggest showing.
Yeah.
Like 700 almost.
Yeah, I was going to say 800, but I didn't know for sure.
It was 800, I think, or closer.
Yeah.
The second one we're looking, so one, let's design the best year. And then the follow-up to that is now let's amplify our sales. And so let's look at the sales process. Let's really get into the nitty-gritty, the mundane. And I love how you said that. Let's get into the mundane, which is also controllable, right? It's controllable. If my day is pretty mundane in a sales perspective, that's a good day because I'm doing the controllable things that are there. And we got to get really specific on what those are. So we're going to get really specific. It's only $97. I tell people I created it because I wanted everybody to be able to go. And here's the thing. If you're struggling and you don't have $97, send me a message. I'll give you a code to come in free. I don't want to just help the rich and famous. Ryan, you and I both know we come from a
humble beginnings,
meaningful philosophy. Let's put it that way.
No.
And if you can't afford that, then you need this even more. Then just send me a message. I'll get you in.
Love that.
So here's the thing. I did that last time. And you know how many people took it? 8. I thought it was going to be a lot more.
I'm glad they took it though, man. I'm good.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. And it's a beautiful honor system in that, that people didn't abuse of it. If you can afford it, pay $97. And if you can't, let me know. We'll get you in. But it's to help grow your sales. Right now is so critical that you get focused and you gotta out communicate the people that are stuck in the negative. Let them play in that world. You don't have to. Let them play in that place of how tough things are while you're out there. Run when everyone else is walking, practice when no one else is, and sleep when everyone else is partying right now. If you can do those 3 things, I did that with sports. I do that in selling. I do that in the work that I do right now. A lot of my people are saying, well, what's going on? That doesn't matter. We're going to continue down this path. In fact, we're going to market more. We're growing as well. It's crazy. It's like, the numbers in terms of things, yeah, it's changing for sure, but we're still investing in hiring people.
Love that. Lean forward, man. I'm on, this is still a market share game right now, and I'm looking to steal market share from everybody else that's partying. I'm focused on grinding. Same with Rene, guys. Again, get yourself into AmCon and then Amplify. $97. I love that you threw that out. It means the world. Hey, if you can't afford it, let Rene know. And Rene, I know that in the future, you're going to have a really cool story of somebody, or maybe all 8, that said, hey, you let me in there for free, and now I built my business to this. Like, they're going to pay it for it, and I can't wait for that story to come out.
That is the hope, is they pay it forward, not to me, to someone else.
We already ran up against past a half hour, man. It seems like 5 minutes I've been talking to you, but that's just great conversation. So again, thank you so much. We'll put links to all of it below. Rene, appreciate you, man. I'll let you have the last word before we head out.
Well, right back at you, man. I think I love that you've been doing this in 2008. You've been a pioneer in this. And the message, I think, to everybody is, didn't matter the market. You kept grinding. You kept communicating. You kept creating video, even when you got nobody watching it. And now look at what's going on. And that's the thing. If you're taking a social media approach, you'll suck at the beginning. No one's going to watch you in the beginning. It doesn't matter, because the right people will. And if you're selling and you're prospecting, not everyone's going to buy. It doesn't matter. Keep prospecting. And if you get rid of the need for something to be easy, then life becomes easy. It's wild. When you're okay with hard work, life is so much easier. But I don't want it to be easy. I want life to be meaningful. And the most meaningful things are hard as hell to do. They're so hard. I want to show up, and I think all of us here want to show up at the end of our life, not like as if we didn't live it. Now we got no wrinkles, no scars. I want scars. I want wrinkles.
Right.
I want to look like I was put through the ringer, and I can look back and go, but look at what we created.
Yeah.
And I think if you think about not just your life, let's think about the next month, the next week, and the next year that way. Put yourself through that ringer yourself, or the market will do it for you.
Owners, get your whole team into AmCon. I can't think of anything better. $97, get the whole team. I don't care if it's 20, 50, or 100. Get them all in there, guys.
If teams want to do it, we have team pricing. If they want to do viewing parties, which I think are awesome.
That's a great idea.
Bring in a bunch of realtors. Let me know. We've got simple viewing parties. This isn't an expensive event. This is designed for times like this. So just hit me up.
LOs, go grab 100 realtors and do a viewing party. Hit up Rene. He'll hook you up with a price that works for you. So love you, man. Appreciate you. Gonna continue to be your biggest fan. Have a good one. See you guys next week.
Take care.